Hello and welcome to other Majlis Media Project. I'm Anastasia Lavrina, and our special guest today is Ambassador of Pakistan to Azerbaijan, Mr. Bilal Hayee. Hello and welcome to our program.
Thank you very much, Anastasia.
Thank you. Today we're going to talk about bilateral relations between Azerbaijan and Pakistan, as well as about the overall situation in our region and in your region. And my first question will be about the recent meetings, the second trilateral meeting of the chairs of the parliaments of Azerbaijan, Pakistan, and Turkey, held in Istanbul, and resulted in the conclusion of the signing Istanbul Declaration. Definitely, this format of cooperation, it's not new, but still we see that three countries, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Pakistan, find a way to enlarge the scope of cooperation even more. Could you tell us more about that document, that declaration, and the potential you see for the future development?
Yes, thank you. I think very important to look at this document signed in Istanbul Declaration at the conclusion of the second meeting of the speakers of the national assemblies of the three countries. But I want to begin by congratulating Azerbaijan on this initiative because it was the initiative of Madam Sahiba Gafarova, chairwoman of the Majlis of Azerbaijan, that she hosted the first meeting of the three speakers of the three brotherly countries in Baku last July, exactly a year ago. And here the Baku Declaration was signed, which set the foundation of bringing the three parliaments closer. And when we talk about that parliaments are exchanging views, coming closer, that means that people of the three countries are coming closer because parliaments represents the people's voices. So if we look at the Istanbul Declaration, it built on the Baku Declaration, which was signed last year. And in Istanbul Declaration, we see that the three speakers are now trying to expand the areas of conversation, the convergences, and the cooperation. I would mention that in the Istanbul Declaration, they talked about how to work together to improve connectivity, to improve trade cooperation, to improve people-to-people relations, to facilitate travels between the three brotherly countries. And also we see that there is a very strong statement in the declaration regarding the support to Azerbaijan's efforts to bring peace in South Caucasus, Azerbaijan's 5 principles which were mentioned to the other party, they were endorsed in the declaration. We also see that the Istanbul Declaration talks about support of the three countries to resolve the issue of Cyprus dispute, and also the East Mediterranean. We similarly see a strong support for the resolution of the dispute of Jammu and Kashmir in accordance with the UN resolutions. The declaration also talks about some other emerging issues, for example, the issue of Islamophobia, and we see that the three countries have taken a very strong position on this issue because this threat confronts the three brotherly Muslim countries. So we see an incremental progress and strength of the documentation in the speakers' conversations and meetings, and we hope that it will continue to strengthen and will become a regular feature of the parleys between the three speakers. And we see that in the Istanbul Declaration there is a mention that the third meeting of the event will be hosted in Pakistan through mutual consultation. So we are looking forward to that.
That's very important, and I guess what also we have to highlight is the support of three parliaments to each other. In any case, three brotherly countries support each other on the international arena as well, in the United Nations meetings and etc. So my next question will be about the importance in the consideration of all those difficulties and processes we observe today in the global world, how this is really important for three countries, especially the parliaments at the parliamentary level, to support each other to promote justice. Let's say just one additional word I want to mention. President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, everybody is saying every time saying that United Nations Security Council, the world is more than 5. And I guess what's happening today by the efforts of Pakistan, Turkey, and Azerbaijan, that's a real improvement that three countries are ready to fight at the highest level to promote, as I already said, justice and importance to avoid any kind of double standards. Yes.
Very rightly pointed out by you, Anastasia, that the international arena when we see the discussions and debates on a number of platforms, we see that the so-called principles of international law are not always upheld. Certain countries try to tilt those insinuations and interpretations of law in their favor, and sometimes the double standards are very clearly manifested. I would like to give here a very concrete example how our three brotherly countries are uniting at different fora. For example, in the post-pandemic phase, it was the initiative of the President of Azerbaijan to hold a special event of the UN General Assembly on how the world should address the issue of pandemic, and especially the equitable distribution of vaccines for all countries, whether they are developed or developing. So that was a very successful and very effective session. Similarly, the three countries are now working on other areas. For example, fake information, disinformation campaigns are systematically being launched through different platforms to create problems, political problems, and upheaval in certain countries. And this is an area where the three countries are collaborating. Also, I gave the example of Islamophobia. Our three countries are cooperating on this issue. One concrete issue that is being worked out by the three countries is the reforms of the UN Security Council. Since you mentioned about the Security Council, how the working is being affected, so there is a long time debate at the UN Security Council how to reform its process to make it more representative, to make it more transparent,
to fight with Islamophobia. It's
to Islamophobia, and also how to give due representation to other countries. And Türkiye and Pakistan and Azerbaijan are working together to make this forum more transparent and to confront those countries which try to apply double standards. When their interests come, they have other kind of approaches, and when the issue of brotherly Islamic countries are taken to that forum, sometimes the principles of international law are not that fairly discussed and implemented. So this is a very critical area where we are very happy that besides the executives of the three countries, the governments, the parliamentarians of the three countries are also now very active to work together.
Exactly, and that's a very important issue. This partnership, this cooperation between two countries is also very actively developed between Azerbaijan and Pakistan. Tell us more about the, let's say, plans we have to broaden the scope of cooperation, to bring two peoples, brotherly peoples, even closer to each other, and how this partnership is important to keep peace and security in both regions.
Yes, Pakistan and Azerbaijan have historically enjoyed excellent and cordial relations. This relationship goes back to the early days of the freedom of Azerbaijan, and how in the early days when Azerbaijan had to face the occupation of its territories, Pakistan played a pivotal role at the United Nations in adoption of the UN Security Council resolution. But this story continues. We have excellent political dialogue between the leaderships of the two countries. Our defense authorities, our defense personnel are having a very close cooperation, and now this people-to-people cooperation is increasing. With the start of direct flights between Pakistan and Azerbaijan since March this year, there's a lot of traffic. Passengers are traveling from both sides, and we see that once the people of the two countries come closer, the relationship is very, very strengthened at a fast pace, which is very important. But now the two sides are focusing especially on how to improve and increase bilateral trade. And the discussion is going on trade agreements, on how to improve logistics, transportation of trade items between the two countries. So these are the priority area between the two countries. The customs officials of the two countries are regularly exchanging notes how to facilitate the products, the transportation, and the import and export of these products. Tourism, I believe, is one area where your country is an example, and there is a lesson for other countries, including Pakistan, how to learn from the experience and the success story of Azerbaijan to enhance tourism. I can tell you, Anastasia, that every week almost 1,000 Pakistanis are traveling to Azerbaijan for tourism, and that figure counts into more than 50,000 passengers traveling from Pakistan to Azerbaijan on an annual basis. This is a very big number. So that shows not only that the people of Pakistan are focusing on Azerbaijan for tourism, but I am sure that many other people are coming for trade and other opportunities, which will be a very good omen for the relationship.
What about youth rapprochement between two countries? Just recently in Azerbaijan, it was a big forum of non-aligned movements, youth forum. It's like united the representatives from different countries, and I know that both sides are concentrating to give more power to youth development in their countries. So do you see also the potential for this?
Yes, very rightly. It was the initiative of the chair of the NAM, Azerbaijan, to hold the first ever non-aligned youth summit in Baku, and in fact this conference is still going on, and we have a youth delegate from Pakistan who is actively participating in the conference. 2 days ago there was an intercultural night of that conference, in which Pakistani stall was set up to display the various cultural items from Pakistan, how Pakistanis what are the special cuisine of Pakistan, the dresses and the other cultural artifacts. So this was displayed, and I think it was a very good opportunity for the youth of two countries to interact. But there were also other members from the online movement. But youth also interact through in universities and in colleges.
Education.
So there is a growing number of Pakistani students coming to Azerbaijani universities, and we also see the interest increasing in Azerbaijani students to travel and enroll in Pakistani universities. I think institutional educational institutions are very important to bring the youth of the two countries closer, but I think the governments also should plan other events like this youth summit to provide opportunities to the youth of the two countries to sit together and exchange ideas and interact with each other.
Definitely, and you mentioned the cultural nights, and it's very important and interesting for Azerbaijani people here to see the culture of brotherly Pakistan. I remember I had a chance to speak with a person from Lahore, beautiful city of Pakistan, who also mentioned that it was very interesting to observe the performance of the people from Pakistan in Shusha during the Haribulbur festival, and they presented the culture at the highest level. It was very, very interesting. So coming slowly to the region of the liberated Karabakh and East Zangezur, how do you see the development of bilateral cooperation in this particular area?
First of all, let me say that Pakistan strongly supports Azerbaijan's initiatives to normalize relations with its neighbors, because we see that once this normalization takes place, the transportation corridors are open. It will be beneficial not only for the countries of the region, for example, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Turkey and other countries, but also Pakistan will benefit, because once the economic integration takes place, the transportation of travelers and goods takes place, the whole region benefits from these initiatives. So we support not only Azerbaijan's initiative of normalization, but also Azerbaijan's desire and efforts to open as soon as possible this Zangezur corridor, which we believe will be very beneficial for the entire region. Also Pakistan is working very closely with Azerbaijan on this issue of demining. We know that this is a gigantic task. It is a very tedious and long drawn effort, and Pakistan has offered full support and assistance to the brotherly country of Azerbaijan by providing its personnel and other skill set which is necessary. Also, we see there is upward progress on the issue of Pakistani companies participating in the reconstruction activities in the liberated areas. The discussion is ongoing. Some technical matters are always there to sort out, but we hope that this will be another area where the two countries can show actual and concrete cooperation.
Mr. Ambassador, could you tell us more about the situation in your region? Pakistan is contributing much to keep security and stability, and as we already covered this issue in our region, I also would like to listen what's happening in your.
Yes, I rightly mentioned, the regional situations. Our part of the region is not very different from what you confront. You have to face a troubled neighborhood, sometimes the threats of terrorism. We also have to face the similar challenges. There is the specter of terrorism which is always hovering around, and our forces are always very vigilant to eliminate and eradicate any infiltrators that are coming from the outside, other countries or other borders. But very important, I think, regional stabilities are critical for economic prosperity. This is a very established norm now. The countries have a consensus on that development cannot take place without peace. So Pakistan is also desirous of normalizing and having just good neighborly relations with all its neighbors, especially our eastern neighbor. And Pakistan has always approached towards its eastern neighbor that we should try to resolve all outstanding issues, whether it is the core issue of Jammu and Kashmir or other issues, because once these issues are resolved, there could be prosperity for the people of South Asia. And as you know, that South Asia hosts to almost 1/5 of the global population. So this is a very huge number, and there are challenges of prosperity, challenges of underdevelopment. So these challenges can only be addressed when the core issues between the major countries are resolved. So Pakistan is always willing and ready to do that. We always welcome any step, and the government of Pakistan has said that if the other side takes one step, Pakistan will take 2 steps to improve relations.
Exactly. So we wish you good luck in your work, in your activity, and we wish peace and stability and prosperity to be developed in our and your region as soon as possible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Just to remind you, watched other Majlis program. Our special guest today is Ambassador of Pakistan to Azerbaijan, Mr. Bilal Hayee. I'm Anastasia Lavrina. Stay with us and see you in the next edition.